Hello, hello, hello. How are you, my friends, my family? It's me, Jordan Taylor Mastelers. My last name can be a little long. Deal with it. I mean, when I do or when I did things of the creative nature, Jordan Taylor would be the name. So you can refer to me as Jordan, Jordy. You know, the hockey club, Jordy. Come on, Jordy. Jordan Taylor, JT. I'll accept that. I know Justin Timberlake, might be the original JT, but can he dangle like I do on that ice? I don't know. Anyway, this is the Stand Up Model Podcast. My name is Jordan Taylor. Mastelers. Matt is not in today. Mr. Matt Lawrence, a.k.a. Homie. The little Marasaka in here today. He, it was by choice. It was more or less, we're from Canada. Lockdown is still a thing. Even though we have our separate bubbles, they're still very credible bubbles, if you get my drift. Like, we don't go out and see anyone particularly that... we don't know what they're doing, I would say. So we're very confident. But nonetheless, he is not on this podcast today. This is episode 1. All right. And honestly, this is... we're in February. It's 2021. We did the pilot last week, me and my boy Matt. Went very well, I think, personally. It's just little stepping stones. Because the whole point of the podcast, and I really tried to get across... the message was nobody's perfect. You know, the name Stand Up Model is contradictory. Dictory. Get it out, Jim. Yeah, you understand. So nobody's perfect on this planet. Maybe in Mars or Jupiter, but hey, let's talk about Uranus. Okay, planet jokes aside. No. So the whole point of the podcast is just expressing oneself in a perspective that is just rejoiceful. It's all about self-respect, self-indulgence, but also having a very self-humble, very I like self-deprecating. Like, I make fun of myself a lot, and I have no shame. I might make a mistake. Hey, that's life. Let's get around it. Let's do our part, you know what I'm saying? Let's just mop this office up. Pretend that I didn't flood it, you know what I'm saying? Moving on. First and foremost, to break into the February spirit, I know a lot of things have been happening around racial diversity and just racial... I would just say racial issues. I know it starts everywhere. It's everywhere. It exists everywhere. I'm in Canada. It exists. If you say it doesn't, you're just ignorant. The American capital, it was Washington, was raided. And I say raided because there was no force that was actually upholding that space. It was just kind of there to take, I would say. But with these movements that are happening with Black Lives Matter, I want to be an advocate. I know just how I was based. This is basic for me. Just how I was raised. You treat people with respect. Elders, doesn't matter, white, black, Asian, it's... Indian, like Asians, and but just to clarify, I don't know if you guys know, but like any type of skin. I was raised to not judge people by their skin. So this whole, in just certain situations, they really irk me a certain way, and I don't agree with certain ways, right? Like I'm sure everyone feels that way, but people don't know how to really express themselves. I just start to follow certain pages on social media that really have a voice or really share a voice, and I just really respect that. like when people use their platforms, and I really don't have one, but I hope to create one where I can actually like express my opinion and make a difference, I would say, in the world. But again, that's not the goal, I guess. Like to date, it's just for my expression to be met, and really my expression is the effect that Black lives have on all of us. And you're very mistaken if you don't think that a single Black life affects yours. Whether you be like white, black, yellow, like Asian. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to really be taken seriously, but to an account, right? No one's perfect. I'm trying to be an advocate, and honestly, I came across, so like I said, I follow the Instagram account Black Lives Matter. And that's at the @ BLK Lives Matter. Okay? And oh my god, my cat is so annoying. I'm sorry about that. Bella's just being like, cuddle with me. I'm trying to talk about Black lives. Alright? And if you think that your life is not affected by a Black life, you're sadly mistaken. I'm just playing jokes, but it's true. And it's true because I actually have an example. I have an example of a Black life that meant something to every single person on this earth. Every single person. Alright, I'm going to get into it. And this is found on Black Lives Matter Instagram account. So shout out to Black Lives Matter. It was a post about Henrietta Lacks, known as the Immortal Matriarch of modern science. Born Henrietta Pleasant on August 1st, 1920, in Roanoke, Virginia. Miss Lacks and her husband, David, were generational tobacco farmers. Hard gig, I must say. So she's born 1920, but in 1941, so she's 21, Henrietta and David, her husband, relocated to Baltimore, where David secured a job as a steel mill worker, and Henrietta actually stayed home to care for her family. Continue this. Page flip. Boop. In 1951, so she's 31 at this time, or 32 or so, Henrietta was diagnosed with cervical cancer at the Johns Hopkins University Hospital. Now keep in mind, this was one of very few hospitals providing free medical care or services to blacks. Okay? And this is 1951, all right? Now, since these treatments were technically free, quote unquote, many physicians, obviously mainly white, due to economical standpoints, and scientists felt justified in using these patients for research in lieu of payment for care. Get that. And this is not even the craziest thing. It was done without consent. So these folks, including Henrietta, were used more so as guinea pigs. Okay, and the main story, Lax's cells upon her biopsy were harvested. Okay, now these cells, they became historic because the cells they gathered defied all prior knowledge and research and represented the world's first immortal cell line. Okay, this blew me away when I saw this posted. Okay, and it's known as the HeLa cells because H-E, Henrietta, L-A, Lacks. You understand? So HeLa cells. Their survival was studied extensively and used to make other cells immortal. Nearly 60,000 research publications and 20,000 scientific patent submissions have been based off these HeLa cells. Okay? Do you understand how many papers and publications and scientific patents that have been done? That's crazy. 60,000. All right, 20,000 scientific patents. That is unreal. These research publications and scientific patents were basically used to develop the polio vaccine and more effective HIV therapies. Excuse me. Also, chemotherapies for cancers and improve fertilization. So all these things, the polio vaccine, you know how crazy polio was? Like what? And more effective HIV treatments. That's amazing. Chemotherapies for cancers were developed through these HeLa cells, and an improve in intro fertilization. And I think the biggest use was the cells were used for a project that pretty much was to discover the human genome, which companies like 23andMe are exploring, I would assume. Like I've myself have got 23andMe. You know, I've given my DNA to this company, you know, in hopes, and this is all based off Henrietta. These companies wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Miss Lacks, Miss Pleasant. And you know, to cap the story off, and it's all about love and support and honoring these people that actually changed the face of the world we live in today. The family of Henrietta Lacks did not even know and wasn't aware of the use of her cells until 1973. Yeah. Okay? 1973. Boy. That's like 20 years after even things were like, you know, perished, but like, what? How do you not inform a family of their use? Like, unbelievable. By that point, HeLa had already become $1 billion industry. $1 billion industry, and the family didn't know until 1973, until it was too late. The money has been made, but it wasn't about the money. This person wasn't even aware that her cells were being taken, let alone would change the face of the world today. I'm talking 2021. Bruh. It's 50 years we're past now. Since 1973, since they even knew that they took her cells. The family did. And thankfully, in 2010, Rebecca Scoot, author of The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, I'm going to pick this one up, helped the Lacks family start the Henrietta Lacks Foundation, which obviously in turn helps the family, helps, I would say, research and development of certain things, because, hey, the world already took it upon themselves to use Henrietta, the HeLa cells, sorry. Such a moving story. I couldn't even believe it. And there's so many more, and I will be posting another podcast in February. I will do another piece on a Black history movement. Like, I couldn't even believe it. I actually saw another one the other day. The first person to do open heart surgery was a Black man. So, like, I actually can't even conceive a notion to disrespect anyone. Like I said, I was grown. I've grown up on concepts and beliefs and morals that you don't judge people by the color of their skin. But people do, and that's the saddest part. So if you're out here listening and you're thinking, whatever you're thinking. And to me, I don't want to get my personal beliefs, but those are negative, toxic thoughts. I don't want to judge you. But let's please start to grow a conscience of understanding instead of the negligence of hate. Nothing gets solved with hate. I believe love is an answer. Love is in everything. Love is in understanding. Love is in patience. These things that you need to use in terms of life. And without these things, you're a lost sheep, I would say. And not to quote the Bible, but you know what I'm saying. It's just a very sad thing. And going forward, I just want to, shout out Henrietta Lacks because she's a pioneer for everyone. I mean, first and foremost, I would say I've had people in my life affected by cancers, so I know firsthand that forever thankful that there was even things or therapies developed for certain cancers, let alone the polio vaccine. The HeLa cells were used to develop the polio vaccine. Like, what? Unreal. Yeah, talking, man. Talking is quite the feat. I just want to really get that message across.